Okay. Questions? Plenty to ask about. Isn't there? Oh yes, the very far back, Cave, please.
Hi, I'm Cave from River Valley. A general question of the various ways of putting semantics in a document. Anything that's automated, you can't really be 100% confident that it is correct. It can't be actionable. Whereas if an author were to authenticate, say, a relationship or a semantic, that would be 100% accurate. How much are there any systems for the authors to put in semantics, and is there any trend that way or not?
As far as the authors actually applying, I mentioned the BBC, and that's exactly how it works for the BBC. It's not so much the authors, but it's the journalists, and there are tools to do that, to apply semantics. We use keywording, and our authors provide keywords, and it's a nice idea to think that they're the best people to do it, but I beg to differ a little bit, to be honest. Our authors in an STM world is that they're very wordy and they like to use things that they think flow nicely. And I've been using a stupid example all week. I've been presenting about this in the US, and my example is that an author will describe Horatio Nelson as the chap with, one arm and one eye. They won't describe him as Horatio Nelson, great sea commander. So they're not necessarily the best people in my mind. That validation question now, I think, is a really, really good one. Daniel touched on it. It's something that troubles us a lot. We have built-in curation tools that are actually then done. We do have it curated by editors and by freelancers rather than going back to the authors.
I would back that up. In giving an accuracy number like 95%, you have to think about what that is. So 95% accuracy means that 95% of the time that's exactly what the author or the editor would have chosen. The other things that are in that number are where you've added something that the author or the editor would not have added, or which would be something that was missed, perhaps, and the other would be something that was completely erroneous. So you want to keep the amount of erroneous or irrelevant data very low, but it's nice to go one step beyond what an editor or a author would have added. We have found that authors themselves are actually not really accurate. They're of a more folksonomy approach. And if you want to have any kind of control on the semantic enrichment, you need to give them the preferred set of terms. So if you can suggest that to the authors, and then they can choose from that list and perhaps add another one as appropriate, you can grow the corpus at the same time that you capitalize on the engagement. And the final piece is the productivity aspect. If you just let them think them up, it's actually quite slow. But if you suggest a list, you can really increase the process a great deal. So we've had at least 7-fold increase in productivity just in really hard numbers, which is considerable savings.
Maybe if I can pick up from Marjorie's comments. Again, I think we're probably all in violent agreement. I'm actually speaking as somebody who started my career in the STM industry as an indexer of patent databases using control term vocabulary. So again, I would say, I don't think human beings are 100% accurate for a variety of reasons. So certainly what we find in Elsevier, what we're doing with Emmet and its application, certainly in clinical key, is we're trying to get, I suppose, the best of both worlds. So we have a high degree of confidence in the accuracy of that automated indexing and tagging, but at the same time we do still have a team of professional taxonomists and informaticists. And in fact, a lot of what they're doing is picking up on the sort of things that Jake was just talking about, where we do very detailed analysis of the actual search behaviour, what's going on, how that search behaviour is then translating into what people are actually looking at, and using that as a feedback, a human, I suppose, intellectual feedback loop to keep improving the quality of the core taxonomy.
Okay, thank you. Has there been any work done in terms of semantic enrichment in meeting... Oh, sorry, Alistair McNaught from JISC TechDis, one of the JISC services. Has there been any work done on using semantic enrichment to meet sort of reader preferences or needs? For example, pointing dyslexic readers to perhaps more audio-based resources or more visually rich resources, and perhaps other people to more text-based resources and so on?
Well, I can briefly respond if I understand the question correctly. Again, using the Emmett example with the semantic enrichment there, we're applying it not just to the structured text content that we have, but we also have multimedia. So videos, images are all being tagged and identified in a similar way. So when the search results come back, or those suggestions for other findings you may find of interest, that's as likely to include multimedia as it is text.
Anybody else dare say something?
Yeah, I think that the linking of additional information to whatever the user's profile is or what they've selected to click on, as Jake was showing, gives you tremendous support to give them supplemental materials as well as more like these. And that reader experience then becomes a much more engaging one, and they're more likely to go to your site directly the next time.
Okay. I want to thank all the panel, and I'd like to thank Louise again for organising this. And I think it's fantastically interesting to me. But we have to break now because it's lunchtime, unless I've got the time wrong. Have I got the time right? Yes, apparently. Okay, so thank you so much, and back in an hour's time, just an hour's time.